welcome to functions or subprograms. What are functions and subprograms? What functions and subprograms are is a piece of code that can be called or used again and again. The code has a signature, right? So you have a name that you use to call that function. Okay, it takes an input as parameters. For example, if I want to uh, add two numbers or multiply two numbers, the input would be the two numbers, number one or number two. Those two together will be the parameters, and it produces an output. It could do some computation, display some result, or return a result. And this is the principle in programming called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Um, the idea is that instead of writing the same piece of code again and again, copying it, that logic in different parts of the program, you write it once in one place, call it a function, define it, test it, and then you can use it wherever you need to. And this is the uh, main idea of having code that's modular, that's reusable, that is written by that's well tested so that it doesn't have any bugs. These are the principles that functions allow us to program with. So let's have a function. Let's call it perform calculation, and you can see I have some data here. So I'm going to call it def. That's how you start in Python to define a function, and you say perform calculation. Okay, and now I'm going to take two parameters. Parameter number one is numbers, right? I want the numbers here. This is a list, and then I want an operation type. What type of operation is it going to be? Okay, now we will take, if you say if operation is equals to add, right? This is our first possibility here. Then what we'll do is we would say, well, return the sum of numbers. You can even loop through the array or loop through the list and get the result. Okay. Else if the operation is multiply, operation is multiply here, then what we'll do is we will take the result, and make it 1, because if you multiply by 0 it will just be 0, right? And you will go through all the numbers for num in numbers. Result is equals to result times num. This is what this represents. This is the same as saying take result. This is the same as saying result equals to result times num. Okay, not mum, num. And then finally, if I have operation equals subtract, you could say, well, in this case, you take numbers at the 0 value, right? You take the numbers at the 0 value, and then you subtract it by the numbers from the first value all the way to the end. Okay, if you have 10, for example, uh, 10 items in the list, what it will do is it will take the first number and then subtract the sum of item number 1 to 10. Take the sum of that and subtract it from the first number, and that gives you basically a subtraction of all of them. Okay, if you sum them all and then subtract the first number, that's the same as subtracting them all from each other. Okay, that is the return, and then we can do something like else. In case someone passed something incorrect, we just return something like 0, right? And then we could document ourselves here and say, like the idea here is that returns the operation that is performed on the list numbers. Okay, possible operations are add, multiply, subtract, and then returns 0 if the operation is not supported. So we got some documentation as well for our people to whoever wants to read it, they can read it and be like, oh, okay, this is what this function does. Okay, let's compile it. Compiles well. Here is our operations. Here is our numbers, excuse me, 1 to 9, and you pass in the operation add, and as you will see, it will add them very nicely. Okay, 45. Multiply, you do the performed calculation here, it will multiply the numbers together and present the result to us. Okay, and finally subtract,